Oh, what, Mark? You're back there now, so you gotta give me the, all right.
Everybody ready? Can everybody please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notification of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the record and posting notice of this meeting in Borough Hall and the Superintendent's Office. I hereby call to order the public meeting of the Little Ferry Board of Education, Monday, March 18th, 2024 at 7:01 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bertoli.
Here.
Mrs. Patel.
Here.
Mr. Phytros. Mrs. Gottlieb.
Here.
Mr. Mealy. Here. Ms. Villasuso.
Here.
Mr. Borisek. Here. Mr. Benelli. Mrs. Bradley.
Here.
And Mr. Upatahe.
Here.
Here. We have a forum.
Be resolved that the Little Ferry Board of Education approves the minutes of the regular public meeting held on February 15th, 2024. Do I have a motion? Motion. Second? Second.
Okay, Mrs. Bertoli.
Yes.
Mrs. Patel.
Abstain because I was out.
Mr. Phytros is absent. Mrs. Gottlieb.
I'm here remotely.
Mr. Mealy. Yes. Ms. Villasuso.
Yes.
Mr. Borisek. Mr. Benelli. And Mrs. Bradley.
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll now ask Mr. Carapato to provide a superintendent's report.
Right.
This is usually the part I love most about the meetings, but I don't have my voice isn't all there tonight, so I'm happy there's only just one. So I just want to announce the grade 5 winner for the February student of the month, Mateo Prestigiacomo. Mateo's teachers in 5th grade had the following things to say about him. He is a self-motivated student who is a leader in the classroom. He puts forth remarkable effort in all he undertakes. He has an unmatched intrinsic desire to succeed. He is efficient, tidy, and organized. He is a model student. Congratulations. All right, for the rest of my report, the HIM report for since our last meeting, we have 0 reported HIMs in both Washington and all the schools since our last meeting. The chronic absentee survey was sent out. We have retrieved all the results. We'll see the corrective action plan that's being up for approval tonight at the board meeting. I just want the community to know and the board to know that we are filtering those results. We are going to be pushing out a dedicated newsletter with suggestions and taking those results and making sure people understand the information that we got, which we're pretty excited about. The district will be visited by CUSAC tomorrow, which is a quality assurance for the school district. They come tomorrow morning. Mr. Gomez, or his part about a month and a half ago for facilities, and tomorrow they're coming for personnel and governance. So they will be spending the better portion tomorrow in our schools. Before turning over my report, I have two updates. Before turning over to Mr. Lepage, I just wanted to thank the Little Ferry community for coming out and voting on bond referendum on Tuesday, March 12th. It was a great turnout, incredible outcome for our district and for the community. The board school expansion committee met this afternoon for our post-referendum meeting and have begun the next steps towards building the new middle school. I want to reaffirm that the promise I will make is to continue to secure any additional funds that I can towards the funding of the project. And lastly, before Mr. Bade goes, Leslie, it is nice to have you back on the dais.
Back and forth, but I was able to come tonight and I guys, everybody, the board, my home, everyone's my family. I wanted to come and thank you.
Hello. Mr. Bade, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. We had an amazing month. 2 weeks ago, we had a spirit week in honor of Read Across America and Dr. Seuss. The elementary students had their annual One School, One Vote initiative featuring the author Janae Marks. In the middle school, select students from each grade had one children's mark that included a question and answer session. To celebrate Read Across America, the entire school participated in the Scholastic Book Fair. The 7th grade class enjoyed their class trip to Arena STEM in Garden State Plaza, where they combined STEM education with entertainment. Fun was had by all. On March 15, 2024, the 8th grade graduation committee held their annual Chicky Tray fundraiser. It was our biggest and most successful event yet. Thank you, Ms. Jost and Ms. Keene and the parents who contributed to making this event successful. 333 was significant this year because we witnessed some history with the opening of the Washington School's 110-year-old time capsule. Letters, postcards, pictures, a school book, a Bible, and a flag with 48 stars gave us some insight to our past. And finally, a big thank you to the committee of Little Ferry for voting in favor. To the community of Little Ferry for voting in favor of the new school referendum. It shows that every vote counts. Even though I will no longer be a royal knight in the district, I am still excited and as I am sure you are to see what the future holds.
Thank you, Mr. Bade. Once a royal night, always a royal night. Remember that. All right. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrapato. We now allow the students the month to go only if they want to. Totally up to you. But just so everybody knows, Maria and I actually went to school together 30 years ago. So it's just such a joy that we're still in the same community together, building the community together, and watching the kids grow up is phenomenal. Mateo, congratulations. I'm really proud of you. We'll now open it up to Mr. Gomez for his board secretary report.
All right, so tonight I'm gonna deviate from my normal business administrator update. Tonight, we will be presenting to the board the preliminary budget. So what goes on tonight is the board will vote to send it forward to the county for county approval. So this is not the budget hearing. The budget hearing is scheduled for May 1st. So some highlights on the budget. There's gonna be a 2% tax levy. We could have gone higher, but what we did is we had budgeted fund balance and we used quite a bit of it. We were forced to. So it's money that we've saved up for prior budgets. And when you hit a certain percentage, you must give taxpayer relief. So that relief on this budget is $1,239,811. So that's where we were able to make it work. One of the largest budget drivers is your salary cost. We were able to keep the increase to 2.34% through folks retiring, reorganizing the district. So 2.34 is a pretty good number compared to the rest of the county. So major highlights are operating budget, that's expenses, is only up 0.86 of 1%. So under 1% on the operating budget, and on the overall general budget, which includes the operating and the capital and Fund 12, which is equipment, was up 1.78%. So, those are pretty significant numbers. In terms of our tuition to Richfield Park, we were basically flat. The increase is 0.17%, not 1.7, 17/10%. So we're able to keep that flat. That's another one of our larger budget items. Yeah. So tuition overall for special education and the high school, all the students that we send out of district was 8,994,481, which is a drop of 3.13%. So we're starting to bring students back from the higher cost placements. The biggest restriction on us is how much space we have, but the administration was able to drop the special ed and tuition cost by 3%. We set aside $250,000 for capital reserve. And for capital equipment, what we're able to do is we're gonna do a refresh of all the Chromebooks in the district. And we also included in the budget the possibility of adding a school bus. We'll wait to see how the year goes. With an additional school bus, we'll be able to cut some of our routes, bidding them out and be able to bring them back in. So that's what we're trying to plan. The biggest obstacle to that is just the availability of buses. So we set the money aside for that. So the total general fund budget is $29,197,960. Now, the total budget is at $32 million, but we don't budget the grants at 100%. We only budget them at 85% because we don't know what that number is until June. So it's a little bit misleading. The pre-K, the increase in the pre-K, I'll give you that number. Yep. So for state aid, we were up $347,000, which is 7.5%. The preschool aid, which is held in a separate pot of money, which is down with the grants, but it's not a grant. That was an increase of $60,763 or 4.5%. We also had carryover in the preschool from the first. They fund you 1 year ahead of time. So the total for the pre-K is $2.9 million for this next year. Now you're allowed to not spend all of it, and you can keep it going from year to year. The state is very committed to funding preschool. So they've never taken 1 penny back. So some of the things we're gonna do with that money is we're gonna be building a playground right outside my office. So that's, yeah, we should be breaking ground as soon as it's warming up. So that's all been done. So that's the big highlights in the budget. So other things, so salaries were $11,079,452. That's a 2.3% increase. So benefits, if you look at and the public will see, when we have a budget hearing, you'll receive a copy of the user-friendly budget so you can see all these numbers. Until that point, until the county approves it, it's not a public document yet. But I can tell you that our health benefits dropped 3.2%. So that's a matter of, newer folks on a different plan. So that's significant. Now, the state is projecting next year's increase. So right now, the increase for January was 15%. For next January, it's 6%. So that's a significant change in the health to be under 10%. So transportation is at $1,509,374. That's a slight increase on that. That's why if we can buy the bus, we can bring that back down that 10%. Security is $186,910. That includes our SRO, which is a shared services agreement with the township, and our own security officer. And so that's 3.38% increase. But overall, we basically on the operating have a flat budget. That's and superintendent's been able to keep all the programs and also take a look. Yeah, you want me to go over okay. Yep. So
So I apologize again, my voice is a little shot, but what this allowed us to do, as Mr. Gomez and I put together the budget, he was working through the numbers. We had a couple things that we wanted to add on to the district. So what the budget is allowing us to do is add an additional school nurse, and now we'll have 2 school nurses, which will be extremely beneficial for our district. Our Thrive mental health providers who work full schedules in our building right now will be maintained for another year. They were being paid through some of our ESSER grants, and now we'll be able to incorporate them into our operating budget. Additional preschool disabilities classroom, which is why you saw that drop in the special ed number, because you bring back another full classroom for preschool disabled students and keep them in their home district. Additional MD teacher, so we had a retired teacher that we had brought back, not a retired Middlebury teacher, but a retired teacher who was working in the program. Last year, we were able to cut that number down to bring students back in an increased number. We're now going to be adding an MD teacher, again, part of the reason why you see that reduction in cost. We're maintaining all of our current programs, maintaining all of our current staff, an additional ASD, which is our autistic program. We're going to be able to add paraprofessionals to that program to follow code. Additional secretary that will be dedicated to preschool and other needs, and some of that will come out of the fund line that Mr. Gomez was talking about with preschool state aid. New Chromebooks, addition to the school bus, which we mentioned, and then new programs and PD opportunities, just that we're going to be doing. So we have a class link, which is going to be beneficial for the community and for the teaching staff, because everything, I don't know how many of you log on now to anything on your phone. You have to, there's a pass pin that gets sent to you, you gotta put that in, you gotta show your face. There's always those multi-layered activations. So the class link does for the teachers and for the students and families, it makes it a one-time authentication. Then once they're into the platform, all of their apps and everything open up. So same thing, if you're at home with Mateo and he's trying to do something on his computer, you can log in from your phone, and he doesn't have to remember any of his passwords. As soon as he's in, now he's in and he can access everything. So the teachers were informed about that. They seem pretty excited about it. And then Rooms is a program that we're going that runs through Genesis, with our student information system. What Rooms is if you have like Class Dojo or Team Snap or Game Changer for sports, this is a platform that is going to be operated by us through our student management system. Teachers can communicate with parents, parents can communicate with teachers, you can choose your home language or your native language to receive your messages in, and then the school, from a liability standpoint, will have copies, a copy record of all those conversations. So there's no putting words against one another. We have it all archived. It still avoids points and behavior charts, and does all those sort of good things. So both of those, I think, relatively cheap for the product that you're getting. A new K to 5 math series, 6 to 8 math series, 6 to 8 social studies series, and then admin initiative money, which was something that Mr. Gomez had brought from another district, shared it with me, and I thought it was a great idea to add to the budget. It's giving each admin a few $1,000s, not in their pocket, but a few $1,000s to run an initiative that they want to run, something that they hear about, something that they want to build. It gives them the educational freedom to use that money to do something productive for students. And we're really excited about the budget. I think when we lay this out to you at the May 1st meeting, you'll be able to see it in finer detail. But that is our budget that is up for approval for the budget.
Right.
Before we get going, watch.
All right, so capital projects that will be starting with this budget. So right now, we're gonna be conducting a roof audit. So we're gonna have a company come in, architect, arrange it for us, where they're gonna scan the roof. What does that do? It lets you analyze what areas need to be replaced and not replaced. So you don't go ahead and dive headfirst into $1 million, $2 million roof project. You start doing it section by section to the ones that are deteriorated, so you don't start throwing away something that still might have 5 to 10 years. So we're doing that. The board will be approving that vendor. We're going to be doing Univent, so we'll be upgrading and replacing some of our older units. Most of that's going to be funded through the federal money. The last piece of that money, which is called ESSER 3. And that'll be going out to bid this spring, because we have to get it done before September 30th in order to get reimbursed by the federal government. We'll be doing more primary rooms, replacing the carpeting with VCT tile, which is much more resilient than carpeting and a little bit less disgusting. We're looking at being able to lock down the building with the push of one button. So we're looking at, we're getting quotes on electronic key sets for each door. Where if you want to enter a classroom, you would use your access card. But we'd be able to lock down the entire building at a moment's notice. Yeah, and a part of that, we received a small grant from the Schools Development Authority for $20,000 that would be supporting that. We're gonna rekey the building, but we decided to take a step ahead and increase the security of the building. So that's what we're looking at. Good news, the basketball court outside recess area, as soon as the weather gets warm enough, we'll be getting resurfaced. The fence will be repaired, cleaned up. We're also gonna install a larger gate so we can use our snow removal equipment instead of having everybody shovel it. We're also getting 4 new poles and backboards. So that's all ordered, and we're just waiting for the weather to get warm enough and it's gonna be milled all the way down and brand new asphalt, and we'll paint the court again, so. And last but not least, through our Fund 60, which is the food service account, we will be purchasing a stove and hood for our kitchen out in the module. So that can let me segue into, so the food service program in terms of finances. So when we signed the contract with Mascios, it was a guarantee of breaking even. Right now, we have a profit from September of $58,968.98. So it's going well. The numbers are up versus last year. So that's what I have. Oh, I would like to thank my staff, both Michelle and Caitlin, because without them, I actually had this budget done 2 weeks ago. So they really helped me put it together. The financials were done the 7th of the month. And Caitlin did that. Since I was tied up with the budget, she did that all by herself. So I'd like to thank my staff.
Thank you, Caitlin.
So
Even though I can't see you. Here you are.
that's all I have, Madam President.
That was really nice. Thank you, Mr. Gomez.
Stove will increase the options for the food.
Oh, absolutely. And so we have too much money in the food service, so the state told me I have to spend money. So we decided, me and the superintendent, add the stove, so now we can increase the offerings that we can have at the building.
Great. We'll now open up to committee reports. Mrs. Bertoli, personnel.
We had a personnel meeting last Thursday, March 14th. Discussions were regarding the secretary custodian contracts. They're ongoing. The school calendar was also discussed, finding the calendar to be available for approval by the board on the April agenda. The administration attended the BCASA job fair Pascack Hills on Saturday, March 9th. They met several potential candidates and have set up interviews. There are several anticipated openings for the next school year, and those positions are posted on njsschooljobs.com. And lastly, Mr. Aponte was selected as the American Legion Teacher of the Year recipient, and he'll be honored at the April 6th presentation.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips Suso for education.
Yes. On March 13th, teachers had a full day of professional development, including the kinesthetic class, vertical articulation between grade levels, learning alley, and people. They made all preparations for the March 19th USAC visit. That's my report.
Thank you. Mr. Mealy for policy.
Policy report. The policy committee discussed the recommended policies and mandatory policies provided by the superintendent Policy Alert 232, Strauss Esme. We also watched the video explanation of mandatory policy changes. Most changes were language changes to be more inclusive. The policies from Alert 232 are in tonight's agenda for your reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Patel for transportation. Sure. It'll be a joint update for transportation and food service. So the committee met on March 4th. Around the transportation, the bus routes have had really no issues reported thus far for the school year. The snow days and delays were managed as expected. As Mr. Gomez shared, this year the preliminary budget came in, on target. However, the committee is looking at various avenues for savings for next year, which may include combining routes. However, this is still to be discussed over the next few months. Around the food service, the committee again met on March 4th, but there was and as Mr. Gomez mentioned, there's plans to install a new oven, vent, and additional equipment in the kitchen to allow cooking to be to aid in the on-site cooking. So that's really exciting. On March 7th, Mashio's, our food service provider, held the first of 2 state mandated advisory panels for the program. The first purpose of this panel was to understand the voice of the client, which is our students and faculty and admin, to understand and obtain feedback on the taste, opportunities of improvement, and your suggestions on future offerings. The on-site manager shared how the food service program was required by state, including servings for dairy, protein, and vegetables. He educated the people in attendance. Those in attendance included representation from students grades 5 through 8. They're known as the homeroom ambassador. There was approximately 16 students. 2 parents were on site, admin, and board members. All attendees were provided with 3 different new options to try, including a veggie burger, a chicken veggie pasta, and a bacon cheeseburger. Overall, the new items were well received, and the survey input will be considered for future changes to the menu. Great, thank you, Mrs. Tilder. Thorough. Mr. Borisek, do you want me to provide my updates? I steal your thunder. So expansion update, obviously most notable. Thank you so much to the community for passing the referendum. We celebrated one night, but the day after we immediately got back to work. Within less than a week, we've already met with our financial advisors and our architect to begin the process of now building the building. One thing that we can share with the public is that we are working towards bidding the project before the end of this year, before the end of this calendar year. So we'll provide monthly updates during our expansion committee updates. But in the meantime, if you have any other questions, please feel free to continue to use is the Little Ferry future site still up right here now? Okay. All right. We'll reach out to Mr. Carapato if you have any specific questions. And that's all I have. And Mr. Borisek to provide the borough liaison report.
Well, I will say this, I attended we attended the first Ramadan ceremony at Borough Hall, which was very, very nice, well attended, and we were well received. It was a very nice event. So thank you. Looking forward to more events.
Great, thank you. And another welcome to Mrs. Gottlieb. And I don't know if you have an NJSBA update this month.
No, I don't. I couldn't even add that with other things.
No problem. All right. So we'll open it up to public comment on agenda items only. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns. Agenda item?
Is the school on the agenda item?
I guess we'll find out what you're referring to.
Well, it's great that we passed the referendum. It's fabulous. It makes me very happy. Now, I have a couple of questions regarding the new school. I saw photos of the new school. And it looks like second and third floor has a lot of glass. And I'm assuming that the construction company is going to put a special tinted glass or film to prevent bird strikes. If that can happen.
So just to keep in mind that the renderings that you saw aren't final designs. The second and third floor, yes, they'll have windows, but the architects will be able to provide us with both sustainability options as well as, I'm sure, environmental and.
Yeah, I'm assuming that this is something, that's right, and we don't want birds to fall on the kids when they're going into school.
Exactly.
Okay, the second thing is that I understand that when it goes out to bid, that by law, you have to take the lowest bid.
Lowest response.
Okay, well, see, anybody who's gonna bid is probably licensed, certified and everything else. You know, but if, let's say, for instance, the lowest bid comes in and there's something about the particular company that you don't like, you have an option.
All right, so you can only disqualify a bidder in that situation if you've had negative prior experience. What I meant lowest response is they have to have all the paperwork in order, everything. Okay, so that's when we had the demolition bids, we rejected them because not everybody was responsive. So
Okay,
that's what we look at. But say to disqualify a bidder, just if you have to have the negative. Like right now, there's a contractor in New Jersey that's having issues in the 3 northern counties. In order for me to disqualify him, I had to add that negative.
so we haven't had a negative report, but 3 other counties have had negative reports. You still have to take that person if it's the lowest bid?
As long as they have all the paperwork, unfortunately, yes. And that's one of the things that people should reach out to your legislators because they need, just my humble opinion, it needs to change.
Oh, yeah.
We agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Now, most of the time, a lot of those bidders are non-responsive because they're just so bad at what they do.
Right.
So they have to be DPMC qualified.
Okay.
That they have to have the right bid bond. They have to have all the paperwork. So say they're owned by 3 individuals. All those individuals have to be present. Paperwork is about that thick. So what we do is anything of this size, any bid, it goes through the attorney to review.
Right.
Because I know a lot, but I'm not the material expert on the legal questions. So they get reviewed. That's what happened on our bid with the demolition.
So there's a few companies sometimes when they go out, if they might be the lowest bid, but if their contractors that work through them, they have like a lot of money. And if they hit a certain threshold, even if they're responsible bidder, once they hit that threshold, they're not allowed to, it makes them a non-responsible bidder.
Now, the state does have a list, and you can go online, it's called P-BAR, and those are the contractors that nobody can do business with. And as these contractors build up, those bad experiences with their customers, they'll end up on that list. But it is one of the problems with, our state law when it comes to that.
And my third question. Let's say the bid comes in at 38 million. Just to throw a number out there. Now, will you have something in the contract that takes care of any other contingencies, like something broke, there's a delay, bad weather or whatever, where they're going to, at 38 million becomes 45 million?
So there's a cap on how much, what we can change. It's a 20% cap. Then you have to get state. Now, a project this big, because we were speaking about this tonight, has to go down to the state controller, and they do a full review of the contract and all those contingencies. Everything's got to be in place. So that once you're over 10 million, you have to go down to the state controller. They review all of it.
Now, the voters don't have to vote on that.
If you go over, we're not allowed to go over.
But take over that 37 weeks.
Plus the.
No, well, the 20% is just
So
the
you would have built something.
We would never, we would say like 30 million, and then the contingency would be that buffer between the 30.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so we would
Well,
get.
you're
So
not
you're going lower and then,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you can't increase the contract cost. without, I don't think they control whatever you do, to be honest. So there is a cap on, it, a hard cap.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Any other questions, comments on agenda items? No? All right, we'll now take a block vote on F8 to F11, DO 25 to DO 41, P16 to P20, C4, FA3, and PO1. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All right. Mrs. Bertoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Patel,
Yes.
Mrs. Gottlieb.
Yes.
Mr. Mealy. Ms. Suzo.
Yes.
Mr. Borisek.
Yes.
Mrs. Bradley.
Yes.
All resolutions passed.
All right, we'll now open it up to public comment for non-agenda items. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?